Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is the BeBall Jones podcast with Nelson Haskin coming back at it again, episode 31. This episode is a little special to us because this is our season finale. We're going to be wrapping up season one with this, taking a little break so Nelson can do his thing and focus during the basketball season. And hopefully, when we come back after this season, he can show us, his championship ring, how he did his thing, and tell us how he dominated the conference and all that good stuff. So yeah, season finale, wrapping up season one. It's been a long journey. Took a minute to get here, but we're here now. So how you doing, Nelson?
I'm good, brother. Happy to be here, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. I'm a little excited for this episode, man. So we are kind of jumping on the bandwagon of what just happened this past weekend. We had the NBA Hall of Fame inauguration. We had, Hall of Famers from Chris Webber to Ben Wallace,
Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce. I can't forget about Paul Pierce. Tony Kukoc, Bill Russell got indicted as a coach, as well as I think maybe two or three other people, a couple WNBA players, But we're gonna hop on along with that train and have our own Hall of Fame talk. But it's not gonna be the usual ones where we just kind of talk about, is is Klay Thompson Hall of Fame or not? Yeah, he is. Is Kevin Durant a Hall of Fame or not? Yeah, he is. It's easy and boring that a lot of people do. Like I'm not going to debate on nonsense. That's
Few
basically how.
wins.
Like, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, who cares? Like, duh.
And when he retired 8 years later, 5 years later, we're gonna watch the speech.
Exactly. So we're gonna get into the nitty gritty of this, man, and just really have a good talk on these players we feel like are Hall of Famer or borderline Hall of Fame. They're missing one or two pieces in their resume to really solidify them. So I'm gonna let you start off first, and you do your thing, and we're gonna have this talk about who you feel your Hall of Famer is. So who you got first up?
All right, so first up for me, I'm going with Andre Iguodala. So Andre Iguodala that um is a guy that I feel like is that borderline Hall of Fame inductee. He could go either way. But if you ask me, I think Iggy is definitely a Hall of Famer for what he's done. And we all pretty much remember that Iggy, was part of the Golden State Warriors championships. He won 3 championships with the Warriors and was Finals MVP for one of those, as we all remember. And so, that's already like high praise and a big resume builder for anybody. If you can win 3 championships, even if you aren't uh, the best players on those teams, if you won 3 championships, you did something. And then for him to do that, not only that, but also win a Finals MVP while playing alongside Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, and for him to win that Finals MVP, that says a lot. And a lot of people feel like that was a little undeserving, but that's between them and the Lord. So all we can do is work with what we know, and we know that he won it. But not only that, a lot of people forget that Iggy's best years were not with the Warriors. I think we have a little recency bias because Andre Iguodala has been in the league for uh, 16 years, and we kind of forget that because we have a little bit of recency bias. We just know what he's done recently with the Heat, the year they went last year in the bubble. But his best years are really with the 76ers, and where he averaged over 15 points a game for 5 years in a row, and 5+ assists and rebounds for 5 years in a row. He also was all defensive first team in 2013, all defensive second team in 2010, and he was on all rookie team his rookie season. Iguodala used to be a dunk like master. He used to be known for his dunks more than his defense. Because now we kind of look at Iggy as a great defender, 3-and-D guy. Well, not much threes, but like straight up defender and kind of a leader for a team. But back in the Philly days, when he played for a little while with Allen Iverson and stuff. Back in the Philly days, Iggy would put it on your head like Vince Carter style. And I want to say he was in a couple of slam dunk competitions. I don't think he ever won, but he was in a few of them. So I feel like Iggy has a pretty good resume. Not one of the guys that are just shoe-ins, but if you ask me, I definitely think he deserves it. And part of what goes into if you go into the Hall of Fame or not will be who else is in your Hall of Fame class, like who retired in your same season to 5 years from now will be inducted with you. So that plays a part in it. But if you ask me, if the class isn't too great, like if he don't retire in the same year as LeBron and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, I think he's pretty good. So that's my first one. What you say about Iggy, brother?
I wouldn't say he's not a Hall of Famer. I think he kind of comes down to what you were saying earlier. Like he might not make it depending on who's in his class, because I don't think there's ever been a Finals MVP to not be in the Hall of Fame. I have to look that up, but I don't think that's a thing. Like you said before, some people can probably try to, not clown, but take a little bit of shine off his Final MVP because he's not, prestige enough to be like, he's not in the LeBrons, the Kobe's, the Dwayne Wades, the Jordan. He's not in that class when you think about players. He's been, for the most part, most of his career, he's been a role player. So I don't think people remember sometimes the Hall of Fame isn't just for the greatest of the greats. A lot of role players are in there as a, role player. So
very true.
I think Iggy fits that qualifier of being there, not just as far as numbers wise, he probably won't blow you away. But you think about his overall impact of the game and how he meshes so well with the game right now. Like you said, when he was in Philly and he had to stop in Denver for a minute, he was arguably one of the best defenders in the league and arguably one of the best slam dunk players in the game too. So that Finals MVP really had a huge bump to his, his career resume. So when we first had the conversation, when we first had the topic come up, he was one of the players I thought of too. And I feel like he overall is I won't say he's first ballot, but I think he for sure will go down as a Hall of Famer at some point.
I can agree with that. Like I said, it depends on who's in his Hall of Fame class also. So he might not be first ballot. He might just retire in the wrong year. So that play a part in it. But I'm glad that we do agree that Iggy most likely will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I feel like he, like you said, I don't know if there's ever been a Finals MVP to not make it. That's something I probably should have researched. We can look that up later, but he probably would be the first, or if not the first, the second or third.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll slide in there. But so that's my first one, brother. What you got for option one?
So my one probably has, I'm gonna be honest, mine probably is a little biased. Coming from a Bama boy myself, I'm gonna throw in a Bama boy that I love near and dear to my heart, man. So I'm going with DeMarcus Cousins, DeMarcus Boogie Cousins. That's my guy.
Ooh.
So I feel like he's in the Hall of Fame talk, man, because if we're going to be completely honest, I think a lot of people don't realize how great DeMarcus Cousins really was. When he was healthy, he was, I wouldn't even say arguably, he was hands down the best center in the game for a long stretch. I play him over Joel Embiid, over Joker, because he's doing what both of them were doing with less talent around him and killing. He was just almost, I won't say he's good as a passer as Joker, but he's not too far behind. He has a touch. He's just like Joker, maybe a step or two behind in the passing. The way Joel Embiid can go inside and out effortlessly, he can do it just like that, but look even smoother. And so he was putting up 28 and 10, 28, 12, 30 and 12, 32 and 14 night after night. Boogie is a beast. It's ridiculous. So he's a 4-time All-Star. He made 2-time NBA second team. And right now, as he's still playing, of course, he has 12,372 points. That's number 243 all time on the list. So just NBA players. And so that's tough to leave off somebody who is, that high in his playing right. You're looking at his career, he averaging 20.4 points and then 10.6 rebounds. that's pretty tough to leave out. He's averaging 20 and 10. Like, I don't know too many people who are Hall of Fame players at that level of dominance who weren't 20 and 10. Now, granted, he doesn't have a ring. He doesn't have, that he probably won't go down as far as like David Robinson. Like, you know how David Robinson was that guy in his era. He was in the conversation with the Patrick Ewing stuff. I don't think he'll have that level of credibility to him just because he never played on a good enough team. Like the Kings weren't making the playoffs like that. So I don't think he'll have that level of respect over everybody. But people who know the game and know how Boogie can really play or respect the fact that what he did was special. So he was, I think, in my opinion, hands down the best center in the game for years. Like probably over 5 years. I give him like a 5-year stretch at least of being the best center in the game. So I think part of like his dominance over the game is the way that he fits the game perfectly as being that traditional, but the ideal five in today's game and the level of dominance he would have, especially when healthy, qualifies him to be at least in the Hall of Fame discussion right now. So he's 31. He still has a few more years to kind of add to that resume. And I think that by the time he retires, I think he will find out. I think people will come to see why I call Boogie Hall of Famer. So what you think?
I like, I'm a Bama boy. We both some Bama boys, so I love Boogie too. Like Boogie, like, and you absolutely right. Boogie had that best big man in the league title to me also for about 4 or 5 years. In Sacramento, Boogie was a different animal. Like talking about 40 and 20 type games, and like not even shooting threes like that back then. He can shoot threes better now than he was then. Back then, he was giving it to you off the block, like, or working out face-up game type stuff. And, like, he still had a good passing ability and stuff. So, yeah, I definitely feel where you're coming from. But I can't lie, brother. Like, as it stands right now, I could not vote my guy in off what he's done right now. Like you said, he only 31. He can add to that resume. But his unavailability, the best ability is availability, So he's been injured so much the past 3-4 years. We haven't really seen him. Mm-hmm. Like the last good few years, I remember Boogie having, or the last good year I remember him having was when him and AD was both in New Orleans before AD came to the Lakers, and then he got hurt. Like then that was like the snowball effect, and he got hurt, and then that's when he went to the Warriors. I want to say the next season. And he was hurt there the whole time. He played for a little while near the end. He played a good bit, but they didn't win the ring. Then he got hurt in that offseason. Pick up. It was like, oh man, like, I remember when the video came out, guys was looking at it like, part of it hurt him. Like, where'd he get hurt at? He just fell and like he not his knee hurt. So his unavailability, I'm not holding that against him. I'll just throw that in there, but his unavailability has been a little too great in my mind. And like you said, the being top 250 scoring, that's not high enough for him to be as absent as he's being. And, I know that's part of it. And, like, that's similar to, like, Bill Walton. Bill Walton was, like, the most dominant big man in the league for a little while for my basketball heads out there that remember or know about Bill Walton. But he won a championship. I want to say he won 2, or he won a championship and lost he went to the finals twice and won once and lost once, or something like that.
Yeah.
So he got that ring and was a valuable player in the ring and winning it. So that is that resume build. I feel like that's something Boogie's missing. Maybe if Boogie had an MVP during his dominance or something like that, or maybe even a defensive player of the year in that dominant stretch, I give it to him. But without any awards other than, All-Stars and first time and all NBA teams and stuff, without any other awards, I don't think I can vote him in right now. But we'll see if he can get healthy and bounce back and see what he can do from here. Because he only, like you said, he only 31. He probably got maybe 4 good more years in him unless he stays getting injured. Maybe if we can get 4 more good years out of Boogie, we can see what he can do. But as I stand right now, I can't give it to him, man.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I can't even fight back with it, man. Just because I agree, man. But like I said, that's probably my Bama bias kicking in, man. I love Boogie in his game, man. So it hurt me to see him not be healthy, like you said, maybe the past 3 years, I think, maybe 4 years now. Because, like you said, the last time we really remember seeing Boogie was in New Orleans. I think he
Right.
was there for 2 years, and they played great. I can't even fight back, bro. That's like I said, it's probably my Bama bias kicking in. So
I feel it, brother.
I just wanted to, I think he's not completely out of the way. Like you said, he's a 4-time All-Star, so it's not too bad for him. He's a 2-time second team NBA. It's not first team, but respecting that second team still means a lot to me. But I can't even fight back on it, man. So I rest my case with Boogie, man. You can go ahead with your next one.
All right, bro. So for my second one, I got none other than Lemon Pepper Lou Williams. Gotta throw my boy Lemon Pepper Lou in there. Shout out to Shannon Sharp for coming up with the Lemon Pepper Lou name. So Lou Will, as most of us know, as the basketball heads know, is the Mr. Six Man. Lou been in the league 16 years, made the playoffs 10 of his 16. He's played for 7 different teams: Philly, Atlanta, Toronto, LA, Houston, and then the Clippers, and now Atlanta. Now, the only thing about Lou is Lou's never been an All-Star. But that's pretty much apparent when you realize that he's been coming off the bench most of his career. He's never really been starting most of his time playing. But he's turned his not starting into 3 Six-Man of the Year awards, more than anybody else in league history. So that just says a lot about being a great role player. Like you said, there are great role players who have made the Hall before. He's only averaged 14 points a game for his career, but coming off the bench for the majority of his career, that's still saying a lot. And he has 15,000 career points. So I feel like that's big for one player who comes off the bench the majority of his career to average 14 and still have 15,000 points. Like, I wish I could find out exactly how many games of his games he started. I probably could with some more digging and some more research, but I wish I could see like how many games he played and how many games he did not start. But that's some information that I couldn't really find. But I just would like to know what like percent of games did he not start and still get 15,000 points? Because I know he probably didn't. I know he did not start more than he actually did. And then, so not only did he score 15,000 points playing majority off the bench and win 3 Six-Man of the Year awards. 2 years ago, when not 2 years ago, the year before this past season, his teammate Montrezl Harrell won Six-Man of the Year, and he was literally the runner-up for the award. So he could have won it a 4th time. I feel like if you feel like Manu Ginobili should make the Hall of Fame, then you got to throw Lemon Pepper Lou in there too. So that's my case with Lou Will. I feel like as long as he's not in too great of a Hall of Fame class, he in there. So I'll rest my case with my boy. So what you think about Lou?
Lou is my guy. I like Lou. But Hall of Fame, I wouldn't say he's not a Hall of Famer for sure. I feel like he's close to Iggy where it depends on his class he's in. I think he might make it after 2nd or 3rd, maybe 4th shot, he'll get there. But off top being a first ballot, I don't see that happening. But Lou definitely deserves a lot of respect. Like you said, coming off the bench and accumulating all the success that he's had. Like you said, him coming off the bench was a blessing and a curse because, like you said, the starters' minutes goes a long way. You start the game off, more than likely finish the game. But Lou has become like a finisher for most of the teams he had. But when you're not, a lot of coaches early in his career wasn't knowing how to use him, didn't know how to use him properly. So he missed out on a lot of points and stuff. And so, like you said, I looked it up and he started about, if I did the math correctly, about 11, 12% of his games he started. He find numbers. He's played 1,067 games, started in 122. So whoever want to fact check me, go ahead, feel free. And like he's not they're not even known as a starter, so that kind of hurts him as far as a Hall of Fame case numbers wise, but impact wise, he's still there overall. So I don't know, man. I feel like the difference between him and Ginobili right now is the rings. The rings bump him up a little bit more, and his playoff impact, well, Ginobili's playoff impact was a little bit harder just because, like I said, he's had more playoff exposure. And that's hurt in Lou Will's case right here. But I feel like player for player, I don't see why Ginobili would be in and Lou Will wouldn't be. So I don't feel like Lou Will would be first ballot just because of the rings. And I feel like Ginobili also has that tie with the big three Spurs. That helps him out a lot. Because I feel like if he was just, you know, if Ginobili wasn't with the Spurs and he would have been a bounce around like Lou Will was, he'd probably be very similar to Lou Will's case, to where he's just another six man and he's held back. So I feel like player for players, case for case, Lou Will should, if he's not first ballot, he definitely should be second or third ballot. So I feel like Lou Will is a Hall of Famer at some point. And if people aren't respecting him now, they should before the Hall of Fame. So I agree with you on Lou Will, man. So that's my guy too.
Another thing I meant to point out that the Basketball Hall of Fame is just that, Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame. So, that's why you see women from the WNBA get in and coaches and stuff like that. Like, it's not all about what you did in the NBA. Like, it's about everything, your entire body of work. Like, Coach K gonna be in the Basketball Hall of Fame when he retire, because he's supposed to retire this year. So one stat I forgot to throw out is that Lou Williams is the all-time highest scoring player in Georgia high school basketball history. And that still stands to this day. He recently got passed by a girl who scored the most points in her career, but he's still the highest scoring male. So I guess we still count that, highest scoring men's basketball player. But for a long period of time, Lou, like I said, Lou been in the league 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
He came straight to the league out of high school. So that means 17 years ago, Lou Williams became the highest scoring player in Georgia high school basketball. And it stood all the way to now. So that's another thing. And he was a McDonald's All-American twice, and Georgia High School Basketball Player of the Year twice, I want to say. So he got a resume. Like, beyond just the NBA, like, he has a resume. And he came straight out of high school, went straight to the league. That's saying something also.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you already said you agree. I just forgot to throw those 2 cents in there. I was too stuck on the NBA stuff. But yeah, I'm glad we agree on Lou. So what's your second option, my brother?
I have to go to the real six man in Jamal Crawford. That's the
Jamal
OG six
Crawford.
Man. That's this guy is solidified. I think he's first ballot. That's how strong I feel about him, man. So he's very similar in Lou Will's case, man. He most of his career he hasn't been deemed a starter. He has 3-time Six Man of the Year award under his belt. That says a lot. He's going down as probably not number one, and most people would, but he's probably top 3 or maybe top 5. That's as low as I can give you, top 5. Handles all time. Like, as far as handles package, he's going down top 5. You could argue say top 3. And he recently passed up, when his last season that he played, he passed up, I think it was Ray Allen. Either Ray Allen or Reggie Miller for the most 4-point plays. And
that's interesting.
That's a very interesting stat for you to have. And it's just like, man, like, out of all the people to have it, Jamal Crawford got it. So I think that's a small little, it's not a big thing. It's not nothing to be just blow you way out the water, but it's like a small little nugget to throw in his resume. Similar to Lou Will, he's not an all-star. He doesn't have anything like that on his resume. But once again, I don't know too many guys who played most of their career as a six man, and
Making
and
all-star.
yeah, like you're not going to be looked at like that. That's probably going to be used against you. Like, oh, he can't even start in his team. Why should he be an all-star? That whole deal. So I just feel like that shouldn't be held against him in his case because he solidified himself in a whole nother realm as far as impact to the game and impact to the culture of basketball and impact as far as the identity of a six man. Like I feel like he paved the way for the Lou Wills, for the Jordan Clarksons and everybody to come through. Probably even Ginobili a little bit, I don't know. But he really like made it a thing to where being come off the bench at school. Because growing up, nobody wanted to come off the bench. It was weak for you to come off the bench.
Right.
Here he come making it cool now. Coming in with the street ball and one mixtape handles. Oh snap! And he come off the bench. Oh yeah, I want to come off the bench too. So I feel like more than just his impact is bigger than just stats and the numbers and everything. Like 3 times $6 million a year means a lot with 3 different teams, and the impact that he had is making the six man being cool and making it popular and acceptable is a huge thing. So I feel like that is what will go down, and his handles too. That will go down. That's his resume as far as why he's a Hall of Famer in my book. So say about that.
I like this one, man. I can't lie. This is an interesting pick. Like real similar to Lou, but like different in a way still. But I gotta agree. I don't know if he gonna make it. If he do, he probably gonna be second, third ballot, maybe. Like I don't think he first ballot Hall of Fame, but I think he deserved to be in there. And I would like to see him get in there. Jamal Crawford is a great guy. Like I just from hearing him speak. I mean, I ain't never met him personally, but just from hearing him and seeing him on things, like he seems like a good person.
Yeah.
Seems like somebody who put the work in. And this is my own little personal thing, but I can't lie. I feel like if you got your own move named after you, you're a legendary player.
Yes.
That's just my mind. So like when guys take fadeaways, they be like Kobe, like legendary. When guys take step backs, they be like this James Harden step back. Like you feel me? Guys like that, legendary. Guys pull up and transition for 3. They think they shoot like Steph. Or if a guy pull up from dang near half court, like this man is shooting for Dame Lillard range type stuff, Steph Curry range. Guys drive in real hard, bully somebody, lay that thing. This boy think he LeBron. Like I feel like when you get them moves named after you, and you get your name put in like the basketball history, like you feel me? It might not be in no record books, but hoopers know you. You feel me? You legendary. You part of the culture. That's the word I'm looking for. You part of hoop culture at this point. And that man Jamal Crawford can say that. This man got the Jamal Crawford layup, the drive in behind the back hop step lay. And to this day, I can't do it. I still can't do the Jamal Crawford. He like behind the back one way and hop step the opposite way, and I'm just not coordinated enough to do it. And then catch the ball and still make the lay. I'd be all out the way and don't have the angle to the backboard and jump. Like, but yeah, I feel like once you get your name put into that basketball culture, you there. Like, and our kids won't know it like that. But for the majority of my life, I can remember the Jamal Crawford layup. Like, I remember like being in practice, like in high school, like, hey, can y'all do the Jamal Crawford layup? See if you can do the Jamal Crawford layup.
Mm-hmm.
And then dudes will go in there and behind the back and hop step and lose the ball and they'll go out of bounds. And this man was doing that in games. Pop, hop step, lay. Like, I hope you could put some of the film in there of him doing it. Like, I feel like once you put your name in basketball culture, it's there forever. I feel like. And like, we gonna remember it until we die. Like, and then one day we're gonna see like a young cat do it like 10 years from now, somebody like John Morant or somebody, or maybe like somebody we ain't even seen yet come out of nowhere and be in the league. And he gonna do the Jamal Crawford layup. And folks gonna be like, oh, that's the John Morant layup. Like, nah. That's the Jamal Crawford layup. And don't you ever confuse it again. So yeah, I would love to see Jamal make it. Just almost simply for that. Like, he didn't put his name into basketball culture. And he'll be remembered for his handles and stuff like that. Created his own move, stuff like that. Like, should be in the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame. Like some people think, the Basketball Hall of Fame, I feel like he deserves it for stuff like that.
Yeah, and I feel like just that reason you said before, like like I said, number wise and everything, he's not Hall of Fame. Just being real, like number wise, he's probably averaging in the teens as far as points and stuff. Like his numbers is not what validates him. His impact on the culture is what validates and credit who he is. Like you said, I forgot about the whole move thing. Like that's a whole other thing that we can get into. Like not too many people have something that they can trace and put an ID on. Like you got the AI crossover, you got the Hardaway crossover, you got Kobe fade, the Jordan fade, the LeBron chase down block. Like you can ID something like, oh, he's trying to be like Steph and pulling from three. He's trying to be like Daniel pull from three. Tim Duncan shooting off the backboard. Once you get identified with that, especially like we said again, he's not an all-star player like that. So for somebody to be able to ID something with you and you're not a Hall of Fame, you're not an all-star or superstar player like that, that solidifies you in the culture in a whole other way. So his impact on the game and the culture is what credits him to be a Hall of Famer. And because of that, because of he's only a culture impact, I feel like I don't know who the voters are, but more than likely they don't understand the culture like that. So he might not be first ballot. But the Hooper, like I said, Hoopers know. So it's like we're gonna be looking at the Hall of Fame like Jamal Crawford retired. Why is he not Hall of Fame? Like he's eligible. Why is he not Hall of Fame? So it's like I feel like he should be first ballot. I'll go ahead and say I'll stand firm on that. He should be first ballot. But will he be? Simply, it depends on the voters. The voters, I'll say that. So the voters know what's up and they understand his culture impact. He should be, and I think he will be. I don't care who's in his class with him. I think he should be first ballot. But will he be simply off of the voters probably not understanding? I think so, and that's kind of sad to say. So, that's my last little bit for Jamal, man. Like his culture impact is really what solidifies him. Like it's a lot of people that we can name as far as greats, the Kareem Skyhook, the Dream Shake. Like we can identify so many things to so many great players. What's the Charles Barkley? What does he have? Oh, nothing. We can't name anything to him. No, that's not Barkley. I love Barkley, but it's like so many greats that we have in the game. We can't ID something, a move or a shot or something tied to them. Jamal Crawford is one of those few. And I feel like his impact as far as that, like his creativity is off the charts. Like he makes some stuff on the fly. Like he's just ridiculous. So that man should be Hall of Fame.
I feel it, bro. But unless the dudes voting come off the street wearing shorts and doing the 11s, I don't know if they voting them in like that. Like you need some hoopers in there vote, not some dudes in suits. They need to go to a random park somewhere in LA or something and be like, hey, y'all feel like Jamal Crawford should be in the Hall of Fame? They were like, yeah, bro, you ain't never seen anybody do this. You feel me?
Hey, if they ain't never wore that 3XT, now I'm questioning if they really understand his impact, bro. That 2X
man,
and 3X.
you ain't never wore the 2X shorts. The 2X shorts, dude, between the legs, you had to get real low and jump.
And one shorts, bro. If you don't understand what we're talking about, there's a good chance you will not be voting Jamal Crawford in. That's my last little piece. That's all I'm gonna say.
So on to the next one. My next guy that I want to talk about is Brad Beal. That might surprise a couple people. I chose Brad. You know, Brad feel relatively young, kind of, but believe it or not, Brad been in the league 9 years, and he's made the playoffs 5 of the 9, so more than half of his time in the league. He's also been an All-Star 3 times, and All-Rookie team his rookie season, and has made an All-NBA 3rd team. Surprisingly, never made an All-NBA 1st or 2nd team, so that's kind of hurting his resume. But he's one of the few players to average 30 points a game in the season, and he's done it twice now. He's averaged 30. He averaged 30 in 2019, 2020, and then last year or this past season he averaged 31. So he's averaged 30 twice in his career. He's sitting at 13,000 points, 2,000 rebounds, 2,000 assists. So not really Hall of Fame totals, but like I said, he's only in his 9th year, so he got plenty of time to try to catch that up. And, like I said, he averaged 30 points twice in a row. So if he keeps that up, ain't no telling where that total can end up in the end, points-wise at least. And but Brad is just another one of those guys. Like he doesn't have Hall of Fame awards and things of that nature. And he may not have the accolades that some guys have, but we that are currently watching him know how big of a bucket he is, and just know that it's kind of due to circumstance that he's not getting some of the recognition he probably deserves. And then also by the way, Brad Beal was named Mr. Basketball in Missouri, where he's from. He's from St. Louis. He was named Mr. Basketball in Missouri his senior year, so basically the top high school player in his senior year. So I feel like guys like Brad have a place in the hall, maybe not first ballot with other guys that may have being the LeBrons and the James Hardens of the world. But I feel like if you were a certified or proven bucket in your time, and somebody averaging 30 points per game and led the league in scoring once in his career, may do it again, I just feel like you have a place in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. I would hate to be averaging 30 multiple years in the NBA and not getting any recognition in the end. I'm on record saying that I wish Brad would leave Washington, but it don't look like he's set on doing that right now. So we just gotta hope for the best. But all right, so what you say about Brad?
I really like Brad, and I think that as of right now, I wouldn't consider him Hall of Fame. Like he just now, the past 2 seasons, like really tapped into his superpowers. Like he really tapped into like even getting in like the mention of, like one of the better players in the game. Like he was before last season, he was just considered like, man, if he can,
a good player.
There's a really good player, get in the right situation, can do this in the third. So it's really early in his career, and it's too early to really call Hall of Fame. Like I said, he's only been an All-Star a few times. No real awards. Rookie of the Year, little stuff. I mean, rookie team, All NBA. But it's like to be Hall of Fame worthy. He doesn't have the culture impact like we just talked about with Jamal Crawford. He doesn't have any type of substantial awards to be like hang his hat on like Iggy. So not to say he won't ever get there, but as of right now, as we're recording this podcast and putting it out, I wouldn't consider him Hall of Fame.
I understand that also, but I feel like so let me ask you this. Name me every player off the top of your head currently that for sure is average 30 points a game for an entire season. Just current players. Can you think of some?
KD, Steph, Dame, LeBron, probably Giannis. 30. I'm going super blank right now. There's probably at least 4 more guys I could probably put on that list. But those are the only people that come to mind right now.
You missing somebody there I thought you were going to say first.
Gotta say KD. Oh, Westbrook. Harden. Who am I missing?
Nah, you said Harden now. You took you a while to say James Harden. I thought you were going to say him first.
He came to my brain, but he probably didn't come out. Yeah. That man almost averaged 40. I can't forget James Harden.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was shocked. Like, he ain't said James yet, but okay. But out of all current players in the league right now, wants to average 30 points a game or more, are LeBron James,
Mm-hmm.
Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Bradley Beal. So 6 players, not Giannis, not Dame Lillard. Like, even though I love Giannis, but not even those guys have averaged 30. Not who else? Said Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has, but not Dame, not Giannis, not Klay Thompson, not Embiid, not none of them. They've not averaged 30. The other best scorers on their teams, you feel me? 6 current players have ever averaged 30 for an entire season. LeBron averaged 30 on the dot, like 30.0. So he was on the verge of not even being on that list. But 6 current guys, and the guys I mentioned, they solidify Hall of Fame. I said LeBron, I said Steph, I said KD, I said Westbrook, and I said James. They all solidified pretty much in my book. James probably like the lowest on that list, and he pretty much solidified himself. He got an MVP. The only one. I mean, he just don't got none of the hardware the other guys got. He don't have the MVP. He don't have the championship. He don't have the finals MVP. He don't have none of that. Like, but he averaged 30. One of 6 people to do it, and him, KD, and James only wanted to do it twice. So that means scoring-wise, statistically, I ain't going to argue who the better scorer between Brad Beal and James Harden and all them. But statistically, Brad up there. Like, Brad got the stats. So let's say he averaged 30 another year, and then, he still averaged 25 plus for maybe, let's say he goes 6 more years, he play 15. He getting 20,000. And so let me drop another stat on you that you may not know, another Hall of Fame stat. There's only been one player who meets the requirements who was like eligible for Hall of Fame induction. There's only been one player eligible for Hall of Fame induction to not be inducted into the Hall of Fame with 20,000 plus points. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
So that player is Tom Chambers. That played for the Phoenix Suns a while back. He's got 20,049 points, so just over 20,000. He's the only player eligible to be inducted into the Hall of Fame to not be inducted after scoring 20,000 career points. And then there's some guys that's on the list that's just above him that aren't eligible yet. Like Joe Johnson is over 20,000 points, so we'll see if he get inducted. And some more guys. But he the only one that just was like, they just said no. Like, we're not taking time. So I'm pretty sure Brad gonna get in that 20,000 range. And if history serves, he's gonna make it into the Hall of Fame. If history repeats itself like they say, Brad gonna make it in there. So that's my spiel on Brad. You don't think he done enough as of right now?
No. Because the Hall of Fame is about longevity in the career. And like I said, he just tapped into a point where he's even being considered of like even being mentioned in any of this. Like, he doesn't have any heart, like you said. He might have the scoring capabilities of, like you said, a Harden and Westbrook, but Harden and Westbrook are the man on the team. They have been that for years now. They're seeing double and triple teams consistently for years now. So when, like you said, Brad's like 28, I think, he's just now tapping into what what Harden and Westbrook have been seeing since like 23, 24. And so I won't say he's not going to get there ever, but as of right now, he's a late bloomer. I'll say that. He's a late bloomer, and that's hurting his cause just a little bit. And so if he can consistently hold out, keep averaging, I'll say 27 plus for the next maybe 2 years, then he start really creeping into some talks. He has to get a little bit more hardware as far as, a couple more awards, the career builder, like you said, 20,000 points, accumulating certain things, getting into the playoffs. Like, he's on the playoff runs where he hasn't touched the playoffs in 3 years. So that's hurting his cause a little bit.
He was in the playoffs this year. They just got beat in the first round, lost in 5.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But what I'm saying? Like stuff like that hurts his overall career bit. Like I don't think there's a Hall of Famer who just like not Hall of Fame. There's a Hall of Fame player that's not playoff rotation. Like, yeah, I might not have won a ring, but I did some damage in the playoffs. He doesn't have that in his resume yet. So maybe in a couple years he can do some things like, and he wasn't even a number one guy on most of those playoff runs. That was really John Wall's thing. So I'm not saying he's not ever going to get there, but as of right now, I can't, agree with that one. I like Beal. I think he's a good hooper. Like I said, in a couple years to get there, but Hall of Fame worthy, not right now.
I understand. Like I said, I feel like he gonna hit 20,000 if he can stay healthy and things go well. He'll hit that 20,000 points per game mark, and hopefully be on some All NBA teams at the least. If he don't plan on leaving Washington, I don't see MVP or any kind of championship in his future. But hopefully he can get into some first team All NBAs or second team, something that we can look at and be like, all right, we know he was one of the best in the league at least at this time. As of right now, we just look at it and be like, oh, well, he was getting off. That's all we look at it as. But I hope for the best for Brad because I feel like he's too good to let his talent. I mean, I feel like he letting his talent go to waste in Washington anyway. But at least let him get the Hall of Fame out of it, like so people will remember how good he was in his time. But that's it for me, brother. What you got next?
So I'm going to go to his former teammate, like that I just mentioned, in John Wall. So
John Wall.
My guy, John Wall, man. Let me start off with this. I wasn't going to do this. I just came to mind. John Wall has a song named after him.
That is true. Oh, man.
This man took another dance and rebranded it as his own. And from there, we got a song named after him. That's low-key Hall of Fame worthy. I ain't gonna lie. That's low-key. That's like the bottom level of Hall of Fame.
He in the culture, like we somebody. He part of the culture now.
He's in the culture. So that's like the bottom run. He's not, I won't put him as high as Jamal Crawford and like AIs and stuff, but he's in that conversation at least. So for anybody younger listening, you don't know, just Google. Like especially Kentucky days.
YouTube John Wall.
Hey, I remember being in middle school, we hitting that jump, bro. Like we was hyped.
John Wall.
Hey, John Wall. All right, bro. Then he did a little Dougie. He come in. Like, come on, bro. Like, y'all can't see us. We look stupid. But anyway.
That's why we don't let y'all see us.
Hey. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, man. So, John Wall. Let me get a little serious talk. So, he's 5-time All-Star. He has been a menace on both ends of the floor. Like, John Wall ain't just some slouch who just, can't really get it done. He gets done on both ends of the floor. Career-wise, he's averaging 19 points. You want to talk about his overall impact. He did a lot of damage in Washington, man. He has, after the Gil Arenas years when that whole situation came up, they were struggling to rebuild and everything. So he came in, they drafted him. And John Wall, it took a minute for him to get there, but he ended up, getting Washington name back up there, a little bit better city to go play in. And once he hit his stride and got things going, boom, 5 straight All-Star appearances. Only thing that's been hindering him has been injury. Early in his career, he struggled with the lack of a jump shot, but he kind of figured it out late in his career before, injury hit him again, and that took him out for 2 years, basically. So I feel like overall, you can't leave out somebody with that impact. So it's like if Brad Beal's going to be in a discussion, you have to throw John Wall in that discussion, especially when John Wall was the captain and leader of those teams and organizations. And right now, he's at 11,000 points. Almost 12,000. So I feel like he can creep into that 20,000. Even with him, he's really a pass first point guard. Like his thing is not really scoring. Can he score? Yes, but he's way more of a pass first point. He's really almost a true point. He's just very athletic and quick and fast that he's just takes advantage of that. And so he has 5,500 assists, so almost 5,600. He'll get there pretty
That ain't
soon.
bad though.
Saying so, it's like it's for him to be possibly a 20,000 point scorer in his career. He could possibly creep into maybe he's 31 right now, so I don't know how much he's gonna have in the tank, but he could possibly creep into having maybe 7,000 assists, maybe depending on how long he plays. So I feel like overall he's definitely not somebody who don't look at him as being a Hall of Famer, but his age is the only thing that's really hurting him right now because he's 31. So I can see him possibly he just had talks of him possibly getting traded soon, so which is possibly a great thing for him, just depending on where he goes and the situation he's in. So
Right.
maybe if he can get, like I said, get the points up there, gets a couple more stats up there. Doesn't have any all NBA talk to him. That's tough for him though, being he's all NBA 2016, 2017. My bad. He was all defensive team, all rookie team, and league rookie of the year. So I feel like he's not too far out the punch of being a Hall of Famer. He just needs a couple more little tokens in there to really beef up his resume. So if he can get whatever team he goes into and get them to a solid playoff push and, at least get to a conference final, that's a big thing. Like, I can't see him getting there without, some type of accolade that we're throwing there. So I feel like the one thing that hurt his career has been his injuries and then him being a point guard, really. Because especially in the East where you're going against the same guys over and over and over, and it's like you're not going to get that nod over some of those guys. So I just feel like overall, though, if you've taken the fact that he was all NBA, all defensive team, rookie of the year, and he still has wiggle room to grow, he can develop and keep growing to where he gets to that point where it's like, all right, John Wall's at this, pinnacle in his career to where he's Hall of Fame, whatever. So, how you feel about that?
I like John. I really like John when he was in his prime Washington years. I used to love watching John highlights and stuff. And before I get my answer on this, I should let the people know John Wall was a part of one of what would turn out to be the best college rosters of all time. I don't know if people remember. John played for Kentucky, one and done. And his 1 year at Kentucky, they had John Wall, your boy DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, and Patrick Patterson, all at the same time.
Yep.
And Darius Miller had them all at the same time. And I just think that's crazy. And in John 1 year at Kentucky, for those who don't remember, John was, like I said, he was one and done. And he ended up being all SEC player of the year. I mean, he ended up being SEC player of the year, SEC rookie of the year, or I guess freshman of the year.
Yeah.
SEC tournament MVP. They won all the SEC tournament. And he was all region and all SEC team, obviously. So he basically, his one and done year in college, he was the best player in the SEC. And he played on the same team as DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, and Patrick Patterson, who all would turn out to be NBA players. So I think, that just adds to his resume. I just had to throw that in there for you. What I say about John is, if John can play the remainder of his career healthy and get back to his old self for the next few years or what he used to be before these past 2 years of injuries, if he can get back there, then yes, I see him making it to the Hall of Fame. Maybe not first ballot, but he'll be in there. But he gonna fall the way of Boogie if he can't shake back and get back to what he used to be, at least for a few more years. If he can't shake back for that, then I don't know. Because John was up there. John was Russell Westbrook before Russell Westbrook. It was Derrick Rose and John Wall for most athletic guards in the league. Like in them early 2010s, like 2009, 2010, 2011, when Derrick Rose was Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same year and stuff like that. This man, Derrick Rose and John Wall, was like, we saw them as like, dang, these the most explosive and athletic guards ever. And then Russ came along, and Russ was like that too, but then Russ got bigger and he still was athletic. So now we look at him probably as the most athletic guard ever. But John was up there before Russ. So I wish John would John deserves his respect. But if he can't rekindle some of that and maintain it for the next few years, then I don't see him making it. Like, it's just not enough as of right now. He gotta snap back and be John Wall again. Like dancing and John. He gotta be that John again. Like, not no awesome 30 games and then out for the remainder of the year. Like, I hope that doesn't happen. I pray, he can bounce back and get some of his old athleticism back. But
I think he will, because last season with the Rockets, he averaged pretty much 21 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds. And that's almost on par with some of his best years in his career. Like, his career best, he averaged 23. And the year before he was injured, he had 20.7. This year, he had 20.6. So I just feel like he's not going to miss too much of himself. It's just, like I said before, him getting in the right situation will really probably make or break his career. So right now, this year, it's going to be a very crucial year for him. It's like, that'll push everything. So depending on where he lands and how he can perform out of that will determine everything. So if he ends up in Cleveland, and I'm sorry, bro. Like,
I'm sorry, bro. I hate it for you.
You're my dog and everything, but you and Colin Sexton gonna have fun. Y'all gonna look nice, but
boy, y'all gonna have a good time, but it ain't gonna be a whole lot of winning.
Yeah, so I feel like he can get back there, health wise. I feel like his Achilles and everything will be fine. Like I said, as long as he can stay healthy, like I said about Boogie, and he can just maintain what he did off of last year, like he built what he did off of last year. So I don't feel like he's gonna be too far off. But like I said, the biggest thing right now is the situation. So depending on where he ends up in his next few weeks or a month or whatever, will determine which direction his career can go. So that's it for me.
I feel it, bro. All right, so next up on my list, we got none other than Mr. Kyle Lowry. Now, Kyle, as we all know, was finally rewarded for his loyalty to Toronto with an NBA championship thanks to Mr. Kawhi Leonard. But he still played a huge role in that championship. Him and Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam and the whole crew. They all played their part. That was one of the few championships where it wasn't just like a guy like carrying the team. Now, of course, Kawhi was the best player, obviously, but like guys did their part in that championship. Like Kawhi would have 30 and Kyle would have 20, or Fred VanVleet would have 20, or Pascal Siakam might have 20. Everybody was like, they had good surrounding cast, and he was part of that. So going into Kyle's career, he's played 15 years. Made the playoffs 8 of the 15. And then, like I said, won championship, and he's been an all-star 6 times. Not only has he been an all-star 6 times, but they've been 6 consecutive times. From 2015 to 2020, he's been an all-star. Not missed a year. He's also been in the All-NBA third team once, and been he's also been in the All-NBA once in his career. So not just a standout player, as we all know. He's never been the best point guard in the league or nothing like that. But Kyle's just one of those guys that he does his part. He does his job well. He comes every night, and you know what you're going to get from him. He's got 14,000 career points, 14,000 points, 4,000 rebounds, almost 6,000 assists. So pretty solid stats for a career for 15 years. And he's recently been moved to Miami. And I feel like in Miami, he's got a good chance to make the finals this year. Like, I feel like they got a great team. So, and it doesn't look like Kyle's done playing. Like, I feel like Kyle's one of those guys. He can play for a long time. His game doesn't depend on his athleticism or anything like that. So I feel like he can play for a good while and be still consistent. Kind of like in that Ricky Rubio type of way, like could play for you for a long time before he really slows down. So he got a good chance to I don't think he's gonna get to 20,000 points or nothing like that. He don't really score enough to do that. But he could definitely get his assists up to 7,000, maybe 8. And that's solid for a point guard. Like that's solid. And he got a ring, played a big role in the championship, started, and a 6-time All-Star. So I feel like he's done a lot for the teams he's played with. And not everybody can say they was an All-Star 6 times consecutively. I feel like that's hard to do. So that's my spiel on Kyle Lowry. So what you say about my boy there? And he also played for Villanova and was all big made the Big East all Big East, all conference, whatever, in Villanova when he was there.
I wouldn't say he's not Hall of Fame, but I think his ring bumps him up obviously a lot more than a lot of guys on our list.
True.
I think he's one of the few people who was a winner before he actually won. And I respect that a lot. He played the game the right way. He's a very smart player, very tough player. And like you said, he's a 6-time All-Star. That's more All-Stars than everybody on my list, at least my little group. So and I respect that, man. Like he's been a baller. Like I said, he's been a winner before he actually won. And him being in Miami, that's a perfect fit. Like Miami's one of those teams that you get happy to see certain players go to. Like the Spurs are kind of that team. But like Miami, I always love Miami's culture. Like, of course, I was a D-Wade guy, but like taking D-Wade out of it, it's something about Miami I still like, and I respect how Miami is. So him going there, for happy for him, even if he doesn't win a ring, you know what I mean? So I feel like he'll get a little bit more respect, especially playing with Jimmy Butler and Bam and the rest of those guys. So, but his career overall, man, I feel like he might not be first ballot, might not be second ballot, but I feel like if he could have got another All-Star or two, and if he can get another ring, I feel like that'll help his cause a lot more. And like you said, him getting that ring with Kawhi, he was the number 2 guy overall. And it wasn't like he was just, one of the just another guy. You know what I mean? No offense to Fred VanVleet, but if we have to rank the level of players we're going to go through, Kyle Lowry's going to be number 2. VanVleet's going to be falling somewhere by the wayside. No offense, So
right.
Your level of impact to that ring means a lot too. So I feel like that boosts up his credibility a lot. Smart. That's tough, man, because he's never really been a number 1 guy on a winner. Like even when him and DeMar Derozan were together, he wasn't that guy per se. I think that was a little bit more of the Derozan's team. So it's tough to say, man. Because most of his career early on, he wasn't really known like that. He didn't really have too much of a impact in the game in any kind of way. That's a tough one, man. It's really tough because he didn't really take off until his Toronto years. I have to say yes. I don't think he will get. I definitely think he'll be first ballot, but I think down the line he will get there, especially depending on how the rest of his career shakes out. But I would not be surprised if he does not make it, if that makes sense.
No, I feel it.
That's a tough one, man, because like his career is kind of weird. Like early in his career, he wasn't really kind of like Brad Beal. Like he didn't really have too much to his career, really. Like he didn't have too much of a say on the wins and everything. He wasn't a number 1 guy. He was a role player, but he was a role player for non-winning teams. So now he's part of a winning team, winning organization to an extent. Still not the number 1 guy, and they're still not winning on that level. They finally get a ring, he's number 2 guy. So that helps him out big time. But like outside of that, he doesn't really have too much to beef up his career and his resume to say Hall of Fame. So maybe I would like for him to make the Hall of Fame, and I think he probably should. My heart says yes. I think my head saying no. That's why I kind of land on this. So yeah, because I like Hoopers know, like he's one of them guys where Hoopers know and respect his game. But he used to dislike Kyle Lowry so much because he would always take those charges, and it would frustrate me so much.
Yeah. He led the league in charges. I remember they said that.
Yeah, because it always used to be like some petty charges sometimes. Because like, it's not like I'm going up for a layup or a dunk, you take that charge. No, it's like I'm coming down the court and you just stop in front of me. Like, those used to frustrate me so much seeing him get those. I'm trying to get the ball inbound. I'm turning around trying to get the ball over the court, and he's right there trying to take a charge. I used to hate seeing those so much. So it's like they made me dislike him for a while, but I respect him overall. So my heart says yes, Hall of Fame. My head says no. And that's my answer. So that's
that's my answer. Well, that's funny, but I'll take that. I mean, a lot of people probably would say yes, a lot of people probably would say no. So I understand how you feel, but for me, I feel like the ring put him over the top. In my opinion, that's just me though.
I'm not mad at
it. Go ahead, bro.
Like I said, he's one of those guys that he can hoop, and he's respected within certain circles. So I'm not completely against him making a Hall of Fame, and I feel like he's up there. But I feel like the ring started his conversation for real. Like without the ring, I don't think we would even be discussing that strongly about him, especially since he was always at most the number 2 guy. So yeah, so my guy we're talking about next is actually his new teammate in Jimmy Butler. So Mr. Jimmy G Butler. The G stands for gets buckets, as the play-by-play guy likes to say. He's a 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-Star, 4-time NBA third team, 5-time defensive second team. He won a gold medal in 2016. He has been one of the most interesting guys in the game to watch, especially of late. Jimmy gets it down on both ends of the floor. He is a late bloomer, which hurts him a little bit. But I feel like he's on that career path of definitely being a Hall of Famer. And I feel like if he had a ring right now, I feel like that makes him – like I feel like he's probably close to that Kyle Lowry discussion. But the thing about him is he's had more top dog status. Like he's been a number 1 guy since years with D Rose when he was out, so he's been holding it down both ends of the floor. Leadership, like he's a winner because everywhere he goes, he changes the culture and impact of the team. And that's very tough to do. Like for you to be a guy in a whole nother locker room and everybody listens to you, or at least should listen to you. We ain't gonna talk about the Minnesota days, which is funny to me. But
still funny.
That boy, that's hilarious, man. Y'all don't want to win? Like, anyway, that's another conversation. But for him to have that type of impact, and without him being, a LeBron type of guy, KD type of guy, says a lot. So I feel like he's always been in the top 5 shooting guard discussion the past at least 5 years, I'll say. So this man can definitely get, he has the most, noticeable stats of everybody else that I've mentioned. He's the 5-time All-Star. He's been on the NBA third team multiple times, defensive team multiple times, the gold medal. So he's I'll say head and shoulders above John Wall in my opinion. Head and shoulders above Boogie in my opinion. And I cannot put him over Jamal Crawford. But I love him, But I feel like Mr. Butler is on his way. I can't say right now for sure, but I feel like give him another year to beef up his numbers and everything. Because right now he's at 1 second. So he had 11,000 points because early in his career he struggled to get the playing time and everything, and he had that tough year where he moved around a little bit with Minnesota. So that issue messed him up some because he wasn't playing as much, and him being in that situation, his teammates friction messed with him that year. Because if I don't like him, I'm not going to pass you the ball. I'm going to play you the same way. So hurt his stats a little bit that year. But 11,000 points. He has 2,500 assists and 3,300 rebounds in his career. So not bad numbers. I just feel like overall he can definitely beef that up to where when you look at his winning impact, because he went to Minnesota, we were like, oh, snap, he's going to be able to shake that team up. He's going to get them young bucks right, and they're going to be able to play together. That didn't work out as we thought it might have, but it's not his fault. Went to Philly. Oh, man, that's championship contender right there. Like, he was that pivotal of an impact player to where everybody was scared of him. Of course, they had Joel and Ben and everything, but he was the missing piece to where it's like, yo, he can make them a winner now. They fell short, and we felt like he would have came back and they could have possibly been a contender again, which he didn't. But that's the level of play.
But they just ain't re-signed him. It ain't that he didn't want to come back. I remember them talking about that. He said when they lost in that playoff run, he said first thing he thought about when the game was over was like, dang, like I might not be back. I might not get to run it back. I find that sad, but I understandable, business of the game. But go ahead.
So he like I said, he didn't come back, and now he's in like probably heaven for him being in Miami because he has a structure and he don't have to like watch over everybody like he used to do in Minnesota and everything. Probably feel it a little bit too. So I feel like he's on the path to where like Miami has a really good team this year, and I feel like they're in position to be I think they're my underdog team to win the ring this year. I have to sit down and really think about that, but they're probably my underdog team to win the ring. Of course, the Nets are first, second, and third choice, but
first, second, and third. The Bucks second. Stop playing with us.
Come on now. It's a whole other conversation, but come on now. Let's be real. You got Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant now. Come on. And they might get LaMarcus Aldridge back.
Hey, we got Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and that man.
Anyway, we ain't gonna go there. It's not the episode for that. But Jimmy Butler is a Hall of Famer, man. That's where I see it. So gold medal Hall of Famer, defensive team add to the Hall of Famer, all NBA teams add to his Hall of Fame. He has multiple of all of those besides the gold medal. So I feel like that adds to his resume of him being a Hall of Famer. So what do you think?
Oddly enough, yeah. Throw Jimmy buckets in there. I like Jimmy. And another thing that you ain't mentioned about Jimmy, out of all the people you've mentioned so far, he the only one been to the finals. So
true.
Jimmy, then he led his team to the finals. Not even arguable. Like led his teams and them young bucks. Yep. Jimmy buckets, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Bam Adebayo. Andre Iguodala was there. He's coming off the bench, but he was, a big role player. But Jimmy led his boys. He led them young bucks to the finals. And then now this year they got Kyle Lowry at the one. Now they got basically a little almost all-star five. Like not all-star, but like top tier star lineup. Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo star. Could go Jimmy at the 4 if you want to do that. That's kind of small. And then Duncan Robinson in there. But either way, like, you got talent. Like, that's tough. And so, I say throw him in there. The gold medal is definitely a big boost to his resume. And then the finals appearance and being a pivotal part of whatever team you went to. From Chicago, when Derrick Rose got hurt, he stepped up and came number 1 to Minnesota, which didn't work out, but I feel like he was number 1 while he was there over Cat Towns. and then gets sent to Philly, where he's not number one because of Embiid, but I feel like he's definitely number two. And he was big for them in the playoffs, even though they didn't finish. I think Embiid got hurt that year too, though.
Mm-hmm.
But big player for them. And I really feel like if they brought him back, they would have made a good run if Embiid could stay healthy, possibly making it to the finals. But now he in Miami, leading his young bucks, and they follow him. And I feel like that speaks volumes also. And so I feel like Hooper's throw Jimmy in there. Hooper's let Jimmy take that walk and get that jacket, get become Hall of Fame. He done a lot everywhere he went, minus Minnesota. And so his finals appearance, I feel like put the finals appearance and the Olympic ring can agree with Jimmy Butler being Hall of Fame.
I'm done then, bro. I did my job. So what you got next?
You did your job. Huh? All right. So for me, last but not least, my Hall of Fame questions. I did Kyle Lowry. Now I got to do his boy DeMar Derozan. Game lead DeMar out. DeMar been in the league 12 years. He's made the playoffs 6 of those 12, so half of his career he's made the playoffs. Been an All-Star 4 times. 4 of those, not all 4 consecutive, but 3 of them consecutive. 3 out of the 4. He was 2014, skipped 2015, then 16 through 18 all All-Stars. So spent majority of his career with Toronto, as most people know, and then he's been in San Antonio the past 3 years. And just got sent to Chicago, and they looking pretty good. They like they're going to make some noise. They looking like they might make some noise over there in the East and finally get Chicago back in the playoff contention. So we'll see how that goes. And then DeMar has also been on the All-NBA second team and third team once in his career. And he's averaged 20 points for a career, which is pretty good for a 9-year career. I mean, not 9, 12-year career. Still, he's averaging 20 points a game all 20 seasons. I mean, all 12 seasons. He's sitting at 17,000 points a game, almost 18,000. And he's only played 880 games, so that's not a whole lot. So he's been doing well for himself scoring-wise. And it's almost guaranteed that he's going to hit the 20,000 mark if he keeps playing at this pace, and he doesn't seem like he's slowing down at all, even though, he's at 12 years now. Let's say he get a good 3 more years, averaging 20+. He's going to be in the 20,000s, most likely. So, and like I said, only one player has ever not made the Hall of Fame after scoring 20,000 points for a career. So if history, why can I not talk? So if history serves us right, DeMar Derozan will be in the Hall of Fame after a couple more years scoring the way he does. And hopefully, Chicago gives him a chance to compete for another playoff spot, because his days in Toronto, if there was never a man named LeBron James, who knows what DeMar Derozan would have right now? Because the Toronto Raptors were number 1 in the East multiple times during LeBron's 9 straight finals appearances. And they got put out by LeBron several times. And you can't even say got put out by Cleveland, because he got put out by Cleveland and Miami. So now we just say he got put out by LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
It was that bad. So he also was Pac-12 All-Tournament MVP and and all Pac-12 tournament team. So he did his thing in college. He played at USC. I don't think I said that. So USC All-Tournament MVP. And won the Pac-12 while he was there. So, DeMar, like I said, like another guy that's not just a big name, big standout player, but a guy that's been consistent, done his work, done his job every night out. You know what you're gonna get from him. Average 20 a game for a 12-year career so far. If he keeps that up, he's gonna pass the 20,000 mark and almost pretty much guarantee himself a Hall of Fame ballot. So, I mean, I really made the case that he should be in there or he will be in there eventually. But like as of right now, do you think he'll be in it? If he retired today, if DeMar Derozan made the tweet or the Instagram post and said, "This is it for me," would he be in the Hall of Fame?
I say yes, and I feel like he's almost in that Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller, I can think of right now. He's in that Reggie Miller category of just ran into the man every time. And
Ran into the man.
Great job, great career, but you can't rack up those certain accolades just because you ran into that man every time. Like Reggie Miller had one finals appearance and he had a couple Eastern Conference Finals appearance, but you ran into the man, you ran into Jordan. Same with the Derozan. They were #1 team in the East. They had a couple Eastern Conference Finals appearances. It looked like this might be the year for them to get there. Then we think of LeBron James. Never mind. It's not happening. First couple years we had a thought they might have a chance. And then it's like I think after that third year we were just like, nah, they just can't get over that LeBron hump. I think they had 1 year where some people kind of throwing him in that conversation, like, man, maybe this might be the year. LeBron smacked him again, so that hurt.
And it's crazy because he'd be beating them, like not even going to 7, like getting swept, #1 seed. It'd be bad.
I think the best they had might have been 6 games 1 year, and that's it. Like that's the best they got was 6 games with LeBron. You feel me? I think they might have had 1 year where it was close when LeBron. I think LeBron had that jumper over them, that game winner. That might have been. I have to sit down and think about it more. But LeBron hit the game winner in Game 6 to close it out. So he just ran into that man every year. But he's been super consistent, like you said. Like out of his 12 years, I think 7 of them he might have had 20 points a game and more. Even with that, he had like 2 years where he had like. Let me look at it real quick. So he has multiple years where he averaged 20 plus. The other years where he didn't average 20 plus, his rookie year where he had 8. After that, he had 17. After that, he had 16. After that, he had 18. After that, he was an all-star. And everything after that was 20 plus point games. And he almost hit 30 1 year. So that says a lot about him and his consistency for him to maintain that level of play throughout this whole time. So in my opinion, he should be Hall of Fame. Like he doesn't have everything as far as, the multiple all NBAs and all this other stuff and all that, because sometimes he just doesn't outshine other guys. Like his game isn't too fancy and glossy. Like he used to be known for his dunks and athleticism and everything, but his overall game isn't just going to get attention over a D Wade back when he was in his career, over a Kyrie in the East. So it's like part of that issue was playing against more flashier players that just name grabs and they had better seasons, So I feel like he should be Hall of Famer because I don't want to disrespect him by saying Hoopers no. Not to say disrespect, but like he's more than just a Hoopers no type of player. Like he's actually built up numbers.
Yeah, this ain't Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, this ain't like Jamal Crawford. We don't have the numbers. He has numbers to back up his game too. Like his game's not gonna be flashy like a Jamal Crawford and get the numbers and stuff as far as the fan votes and everything. Because he had the fans vote, he wouldn't be nothing for real. But Hoopers know to respect him, So in my book, he's a Hall of Famer too. So I agree.
Appreciate that, brother.
So wrapping it up right here with my guy. I'm also coming from a former Pac-12 player. He was their rival at UCLA. And he's a dog in my book, man, with Mr. Kevin Love. If y'all listen to that other episode we had, y'all know how I feel about K-Love. He's a dog. All right. My guy, Kevin Love, was a 2016 NBA champion.
Of course.
He was a 2012 gold medal winner. He's a 5-time All-Star. And as of this point right now, he has 13,000 career points. So that's just number-wise. Let me forget that this man is a beast. When I say beast, I mean like an absolute destroying monster on the rebounds when he gets on the boards. He has 8,100 career rebounds. He has, I don't know if he get to that 10,000 mark. He might. Depends on where he goes in his career. I feel like he could get there, but these last few Cleveland years been hurting his soul. It's been hurting my soul to watch him. Well, I ain't even watching him, to be honest with you, but to know he's there struggling hurting me too. So
I feel his pain.
Yeah, I feel your pain, bro. Like I can't even watch you. I can't bear to see you suffer like that. But yeah, man. He had a couple of injuries and stuff. And plus, just not wanting to play. To be honest with you, like he's probably been hurting his basketball soul to sit there and be in Cleveland with that talent. No offense to him, but Cleveland ain't there yet. So yeah, Kevin Love, man, he's a Hall of Famer, bro. Like the ring got him there. He's a gold medal winner player. He has a 5-time All-Star, and he could possibly get to 15,000 career points. I don't know about 20. He could get there. It just depends on where his career shakes out at the tail end. He should have been traded from Cleveland 2 years ago. I don't know why, but should have been gone, especially after LeBron and Kyrie left. So should have went ahead and
free
had
my guy.
Free him, bro. Like he's already 32, so no 33 now. So give my man some good years before he retired, bro. Like he don't want to be like losing his mind in Cleveland. Let him lose his mind in Los Angeles, Miami. Like let him go to a good city, But he's a dog, bro. Like if anybody knows Minnesota Kevin Love before he teamed up with LeBron, I think that's what hurts him. People remember how he was with LeBron. He was like the scapegoat for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But before he played, there's a reason why LeBron wanted him on that team. Like let's do some thinking here. Like LeBron don't want to play with anybody. He wants to play with dogs, people who can hoop. He wanted Kevin Love. Kevin Love was putting up 40 and 20, 30 and 30, 20 and 20 consistently. Like it wasn't just like a 20 and 20 point game and then he just go quiet for the next 30. No, he was putting up 20 and 20, next night putting up 30 and 20, next night putting up 40 and 20, next night putting up 30 and 30. Like, who does that? Nobody.
He was a monster.
And so it's like, just thinking about his level of dominance, Kevin Love, in my opinion, had a stretch, maybe about 2 years, I would have given him the best power forward in the game. Like, young, out of shape looking Kevin Love. He was that dominant, where he was just like, ain't nobody putting up the numbers he putting up. Now, was he dominant as far as the wins? You can only win so much by yourself, bro. Like, he didn't have any help around him. And so, that's my dog, man. Kevin Love should be in the Hall of Fame. He's the only guy on my list to actually win the ring. He has the gold medal. I think Boogie has the gold medal too. I forgot to mention that. But him and Butler and Boogie got the gold medal. So you put all that together, plus the points and the rebounds and his actual, the storyline helps him out too of being that dominant of a player during that time period. Like his numbers as far as the 20-20 point games, the 30-20 point games, the 30-30 point games, the 40-50 point games with the 20 rebounds. Like all that accumulates for him to be in the Hall of Fame player. So how you feel about my guy?
Yeah, man. Put him in there. Put him in there. He got the ring. He got the gold medal. He got the stats. He had the dominance in his time, in his prime time. He was dominant. Considered top 3 power forwards. I don't know if we'll say number 1. During that dominance, bro, KG and Tim Duncan was still in the league. So I don't know. I was there. No. Man was a monster. Like putting up unreal numbers, Shaq-like numbers. And he was all of 6'8" and chubby for a little while in the league. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, I say put him in there. I can't even argue with you. Like, he needs to be in there. Like,
yeah,
it's just one of the things, man. That man was too good at his time. Won his ring, got him a gold medal. Like, ain't too much more you can ask. And he gonna probably get to 10,000 rebounds if he can get a couple more good years out of his career somewhere where he actually want to play. He probably get to 10,000 rebounds. That's a high, upper echelon type number. So 10,000 rebounds and 10,000 assists. If you get north of them, you did good. Like in your position, 10,000 assists, point guards are great point guards. 10,000 plus rebounds are good big men. 20,000 plus points are good players, like good scorers. Mm-hmm. So he can get that 10,000 plus rebounds. I feel like he first ballot. Like he's still right now probably first ballot, but like 10,000
Yeah.
plus rebounds plus everything else, like put him in there. Don't even argue with him.
Yeah, man. So my guy K Love, man, like I was fanning out over him. He's a dog, man. Like he was killing, bro. Like it's crazy what he was doing. So that wraps up our 5-5, man. But I kind of want to throw two other guys in there at you real quick, just to see where your head's at, just real quick. So
Go ahead.
I was
I'm
debating
ready.
on having this guy on my list, and he got a couple stats and awards and everything that qualifies him over a couple other guys that have on my list. But he's not a fan favorite right now, but people have to remember how good he was before the hate turned on him. So how you feel about PG-13 Paul George?
Paul George in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir.
I don't know his career stats and all that, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, he should be good. If I had to guess, I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. Like he should make it in there. I don't know if he ever gonna win a ring. I don't know if he ever gonna win an MVP. Now he played with Kawhi Leonard, and I don't know how that's gonna shake out for the rest of his career. But at one point in time, Paul George was a MVP top 3 finisher candidate. Like it was him. I want to say it was him, LeBron, and James Harden, or him, Anthony Davis, and James Harden, something like that. And James Harden ended up winning it that year. But he was a top 3 finalist for the MVP. And so I remember how good Paul George is in his battles with LeBron when he was in Indiana and stuff like that. I feel like Paul definitely in there. If Dominique Wilkins in there, throw Paul George in there. Dominique Wilkins. All respect.
I was like, dang, okay. Yeah. So this is the man with like 4 first names, Paul George. He's a 7-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA player. He has a steal championship under his belt, 4-time All-Defensive Team, and he won Most Improved. For his career average, he has 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. No, my bad. 6.5 rebounds and 3.5 assists. 3.5 assists. Career totals, he has 14,000 points, almost 2,500 assists, and 4,500 rebounds. So not bad numbers. I think his career scoring, I feel like he will hit the 20,000 points. And
what year is he in, did you say?
11. It's 11th year. No, this will be his 12th year coming up.
He'll get there.
Yeah.
He gonna get there. He's scoring 20 a game. He got a good amount of time left, barring injury. He should be straight. 20,000 points per game. Now, if he retired today, then no. But when it's all said and done, he'll be in there.
So besides that year, he had that major injury. I believe this year this was. He had, if you exclude that year, he would have had 5 straight All-Star selections. So not too many guys can be consistently an All-Star. Like it's one thing to be an All-Star here and there, but consistently have that run like that says a lot about him. So, and like once again, excluding that year, he averaged 20 straight points for all those years except one of them. So I think people have to remember that Paul George was and still is a real hooper and a baller. Like he's just not some guy who just a clown. Like he just getting attention because of crazy stuff. He can actually hoop. That's why we know him and respect him. So I feel like Paul George should be a Hall of Famer. By the time he's said and done, I feel like he will be. So now, last guy I want to throw at you, man. This guy's near and dear to my heart. You know, he's a lot of people will go to war for this man and will fight anybody, any type of disrespect that might come to his way. He will fight him over. Derrick Rose, the youngest MVP ever, at 22 years old. How do you feel about him? I had to preface my question with the answer.
Ooh, hey, I can't lie. D Rose, for all that is missing out of his career, he got more hardware than some guys that didn't play 15 years. Like, for all the years he did not play or played very few games, he got more hardware than a lot of guys. This man, D Rose, Rookie of the Year, youngest MVP ever, and now Sixth Man of the Year. So, wait, no, not Sixth Man of the Year, but he was in the running for Sixth Man of the Year. Almost won it. My bad. If he would have won, then oh my goodness, he'll have everything. But I gotta say, yeah, like MVP and Rookie of the Year, the youngest MVP. So now he like historic type stuff. Now you talking about history. Like stuff like that, just to have a MVP might not be enough to put him over the hump, but to have the youngest MVP, now we talking about something. Now we talking about history. So I feel like that's enough. That and the Rookie of the Year, and then his team was #1 seed when he was healthy in that MVP season before he got hurt. Then he just couldn't rekindle that. He comes back, gets back to playing like his old self, scores 40 that night. And fans out here crying because D Rose out here hooping.
50.
And we never thought we'd see it again. 50, yeah, 50. We never thought we'd see it again. D Rose out here, we get 50. People crying, sad. He crying in the post-game interview. And like, my heart tells me to say yes. Like, if I'm voting, I feel like when it's all said and done, D Rose finished out the way he's been playing, being a consistent, great role player. He'll never be an all-star again, most likely. But, doing what he's doing now, if he can finish out his career doing just that, if I'm on the Hall of Fame induction committee, I can't say no. I'm like, man, this dude came from the top, fell to the bottom, worked his way back, and played a great career in the end. So I ain't no way I could take that away from him by saying he's not a Hall of Famer in the end, if I'm voting on it. That's just how I feel, though. And D Rose, part of that culture, like we said, out of the concrete of Rose came. I remember that commercial. I associate that phrase to D Rose now.
Yeah.
Like when people say Rose grew from the concrete or whatever, I think about Rose like every time.
Yeah. The guys older than us will probably associate that with Tupac. It's probably from him, but we associate that with D Rose.
Yeah. That's D Rose thing. Now that was in his commercial when he was big and when he was probably the best. Most athletic point guard ever at the time. It's just got to get it to him. Like, yeah, I'm not going to be the one. If I'm voting on it, I would not be the one to keep him out. If he finishes his career the way he playing right now, this is enough. Like, from where he came from, Rookie of the Year, youngest MVP, #1 seed, 23 years old, leading his team to the playoff #1 seed, gets hurt, never can bounce back. We thought it was over, like it was ACL, then another ACL, then a meniscus, then another meniscus. It's terrible. And then to go from that to being almost Sixth Man of the Year on a good team in the Knicks, and they go to the playoffs. And you a pivotal part of that. If he finishes his career like this, I'm not gonna be the one to be like, nah, he don't deserve to be here. I can't. It will hurt me. And I feel like I can't wait for him to be inducted into the Hall of Fame just to hear his speech because I know it's going to make me cry. It's going to be sad. It's going to be sad and happy. But, yeah, bro, I'm glad you threw him in there. You probably should have made him one of your things. That should have been your last one. One of your original lists. Because I want D Rose to be in it. I feel like fans want him to be in it more than he might have deserved to be in it.
Yeah, I'm going to play devil's advocate, though. So, 12,000 career points, only 3 All-Star appearances. Hasn't touched the All-Star since 2011-2012 season. For a career, he averaging 18.5 points, averaging 5.5 assists, a little over 3 rebounds. Granted,
that ain't bad.
It's not bad, definitely a solid career. But if you look at the whole scope of things, yes, the MVP is amazing. Youngest MVP, All-NBA, All-Rookie team, Rookie of the Year. That's amazing stats. You said almost Sixth Man of the Year. But you look at the totality of the thing overall, right? So he was here, hit a pinnacle, and had a sharp fall. Not that his fault, just injury,
Right.
Gonna rekindle it for maybe at least 5 seasons in a row. So I feel like he's almost in a boogie cat class of the best ability is availability. Even though he had a higher high than pretty much anybody on both lists. None of these guys are MVPs. D-Rose hasn't touched the finals and he's not doesn't have a ring, but as far as individual player, like the highest award you can get as an individual player is MVP.
Facts.
I mean, next to finals MVP, but only so many amounts can get that, even touch that, because you got to be in finals, of course. But
right.
The fact that D-Rose has an MVP and is the youngest MVP says a lot. But you have the youngest MVP, and then you just plummeted so hard, man. So, but it's not because of skill or nothing. It's just literally because of injury. He couldn't stay healthy. So,
right.
My heart says automatic yes. Like I told you, that's my boy, man. That's my guy. But looking at his career in totality, as far as the stats, looking at the numbers, that doesn't give me enough. Even his impact. It's debatable who had a bigger impact with him and Jamal Crawford. That's debatable. But I feel like I wouldn't be necessarily mad, but I'd feel a way. I'd be in my feelings a little bit if D-Rose didn't make it.
Oh, yeah, definitely would. Even if he ain't first ballot, like, slide my boy in there. Like, for somebody to go from the top to the bottom, work his way back to the middle, like, that's enough in sports, in my book. He was at the top for a while, like for a short period of time, but he was there. Youngest MVP and a Rookie of the Year. Plummeted to the bottom. We thought he probably wasn't going to play again. Then he worked his way back to the middle. And now he's consistent. And so I just don't take that away from him. We all know and hope, well, at least we can dream of what we thought he could have been. And so the fact that he made it back, like, just don't take it away from him. That's how I feel. Don't take that away from him. Let him still be recognized and awarded for what he did.
Yeah, and I was looking at it, man. Another guy that comes to mind who has very similar career path of him is Grant Hill, right?
Right.
He was promised to be the next Jordan, and he was LeBron before LeBron, all this stuff, right? Injury took him out, and his career's never the same, just a role player after that. Grant Hill was a 7-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA selection, and he never won an MVP or anything like that. As a personal career awards or anything like that, he's not on that level. He won Rookie of the Year and everything, but he's a Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah, we definitely call D-Rose in there then.
You know, see what I'm saying? So, like, career-wise, he averaging 16.7 assists. 16.7 points. Nothing crazy. D-Rose averaging 18. Career points, though, he has 17,000. I can see D-Rose getting close to that, depending on how his career pans out. I could probably get over to 15. I'll say that. He probably get close to 15. Depending on how his career pays out, he can probably get around there. So, if they're throwing Grant Hill in there and he didn't really do too much more, he didn't reach the high that D-Rose had. And D-Rose was actually probably top 3 to 5 players in the game, not just position, but players, especially when somebody MVP year. So
yeah, you might absolutely be right. 2011, 2010, 2011, yeah.
He was in talks. He was in talks. It was like LeBron, Wade was still up there because that was around that time the Heels came together.
Mm-hmm.
And D-Rose was up there. So
he was in the mix.
He gave us some legendary battles between him and the Heat, him and the Celtics, And this might be a lot of our heart speaking here. We might be super biased, but I don't even mind it, Just like Boogie. Might be a Bama boy. Boogie, get that nod from me. So, but D-Rose, man, like, it's crazy. So, I feel like if Grant Hill gets there, I don't see – you can't give me enough evidence to say why Grant Hill can't get there. You can't give me enough evidence against Derrick Rose since Grant Hill got there. So,
thanks. Yeah, I'm with you, bro.
But that's a good case for him, man. So I feel like out of all of them, that might be the most debatable one. But I don't think that's going to sway my answer either way, just because That's my dog, man. So that's it for me, man. I just want to throw those last two at you and see where your head was at with those two, because those are kind of interesting people to look at and to discuss as far as this conversation goes. So that's it for me.
Well, all right. That's a wrap from us here at the B-Ball Jones podcast. Not just for this episode, but for season 1. Uh, it's been a long, crazy ride, man. Like we really made it to what we consider the end of our first season, and 31 episodes in, and I just want to say, before we cut it off, like, I appreciate y'all that have been listening, and appreciate y'all's consistency and bearing with us, and knowing that this something we just getting off the ground, and we do the best what we got, and we appreciate the support that y'all give us, and it means the world to me. And I want to say before I appreciate my guy Brian. This is, like, y'all know, this is the B-Ball Jones YouTube channel, and everything that we put it on. So this was B-Ball Jones stuff before it was me, and that's why we say the B-Ball Jones podcast with Nelson Haskins. So it's really mostly thanks to him that we even can do this, and that we even started this, and that I'm a part of it. So I appreciate you too, brother. And we can't wait to come back to this. We're gonna let my season end, and Brian still trains, and this gives him opportunity to go watch the kids that he trains and does things and do things like that. And we can't wait to get back to it and give you guys even more. We got a lot of stuff planned for season 2, a lot more great topics, a lot of more great information to give you guys. So we hope that y'all come back to us when we get back on. And anything else you want to tell to the people before we get out of here?
Well, I appreciate that, man. But yeah, man, this season's had its highs and lows. It's been fun for us, but it's our rookie season, man. So we had to go through our learning pains. We hit that wall a little bit, a couple times, and it was a little frustrating in certain pockets, but we here, man. We graduated. That's got it done, man. So I appreciate everybody that's been listening to us, especially those that's been consistent. We appreciate all interaction, all love given to us, every comment, every like, every click of the video, everything, every play through, Apple Podcasts, Google, however you listen to us. We appreciate every last bit, every share of a post, everything, all of that stuff means a lot, So everybody support us online, offline. It all adds up and means a lot to us. So I appreciate it. Appreciate my guy Nelson rocking with me, sticking with me throughout this whole process. Really couldn't have done it without him. Means a lot to have, especially somebody that's family, man, seeing you since you were younger, get to this point and still want to rock with you, believe in the vision and dream. So that means a lot. So thank you everybody that's been rocking with us through these 31 episodes. And honestly, man, I feel like season 2 is gonna blow this out the water for stuff we got planned. Like, we already planning for season 2. I've been planning for season 2 for a couple months now. So it's that's how I am. But yeah, man. So that's all I got, man. I appreciate it. I'm very grateful. So that's it for me.
All right, y'all. Make sure y'all follow us on social media one last time. Follow my guy Brian at B-Ball Jones. That's B-E-Ball Jones on all social media and YouTube. And make sure you follow me on Twitter at NellyH34. And add me on Facebook at Nelson Haskin. We like to keep the conversation going over there. And make sure y'all like and subscribe, share the episode. And once again, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all, and we out.